Hello everyone, I welcome you back to the Starlight Observatory, this time for our bi-monthly book club. Today we're going to be reading, or discussing, Nettle and Bone by Ting Fisher, which we all read over the course of the month. Today I am here with our regulars. We have Faye, Toto, and Realm. I will let them introduce themselves while I do the one thing that I forgot to do.
Oh no! Sheesh.
It's okay.
Hey guys, Realm. Professor Guide to the Stars, local bone dog lover. Happy to be here.
Hello, it's Dr. Toto Hex, the smartest science turtle in your oceanatron. I am one of the many animal companions on the stream.
Many. Did we mention there's animals in this story?
Yeah, right? Many much animals.
They really are.
Hi, I'm Feyble, and I would be of the godmother variety upon this story.
Ooh.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Mara, I feel like I'm not good at anything, so.
Hey, actually, you know what? Wait, hear me out. Through uncanny odds, you got us all together on this journey.
That's true.
So.
You are the Mara of this story.
To a nunnery with these.
No.
Except for the whole like political marriage bit. I don't unless you got something you want to tell me. Let's forget about that.
I feel like that'd be very public.
What, Princess Trips?
Yeah, Princess Trips.
Ooh.
Princess Trips, Starlight of the Sluggy Empire. Oh. So this is Nettle and Bone. It actually won the Hugo Award this year in 2023. Well, I guess 2022 because they go over the books that came out last year. I decided to pick it because I thought it's short and I actually thought it was pretty all right. And it's very different than anything else I've picked, I feel like. So I thought it would be an interesting discussion. I will say I'm actually holding the physical copy right now, and I hate the tagline on the back of this book. I'm going to read it to you, and I want you to tell me if you think that this describes the actual story or is just making it into like a YA fantasy book. The tagline is, "This isn't the kind of fairy tale where the princess marries a prince. It's the one where she kills him."
But the princess does marry the prince.
Exactly.
The other ones.
The other princess, yeah.
That sounds like
fact,
an enemies
that
to
happens
lovers type of
twice.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
And not a
Two
good one at
princesses
that.
marry a prince, and it's the same prince, and one of the princesses dies, and the other one's
Which is
constantly pregnant.
creepy.
Yeah.
By the
Which is
way,
also
I'll buy it.
creepy, yeah.
Yeah, I am genuinely interested in hearing what you all think of this book. We can go through the events of the book slowly, but also like this stream is assuming people have like at least some knowledge of the book, so feel free to spoil because it's a spoiler filled thing.
Yeah, I guess you should kind of give a synopsis.
Yes, synopsis first though. I can give a synopsis, but if someone who read the book this month wants to, that's fine too.
I would like to villain bash after the synopsis.
Okay.
I will not be giving the synopsis.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so there's a nun. Okay, there's like three princesses, and we follow the youngest princess, and she's kind of like bad at everything politics wise, and she's kind of naive. So she gets sent to a nunnery to be like a nun and stuff, while her older sister goes and marries this prince who is like basically pure evil, and she dies somewhere off screen.
Mm-hmm.
And then the middle princess has to go marry him next. And then we find out later that he is actually super abusive to her, trying to like force her to have a son and stuff. And there's a lot of like creepy stuff going on around there. So our main character goes out to find someone that can help her.
Mm-hmm.
Like get rid of this evil prince.
Yeah, so she has to complete 3 impossible tasks, and then a witch could help her, basically. But they seem quite impossible. Like she has to make a cloak out of nettle and a dog out of bones.
That's the title.
Yeah, that's the title. And a jar of moonlight or whatever it is.
I believe, yeah, a moon.
Yeah, but it's not called
jar.
Nettle Bone and Moonlight, so no moonlight.
No moonlight.
Yeah, she just like doesn't need to complete that one. The necromancer witch lady is like, you completed 2 of them. That's good enough for me.
No, she's literally like, you weren't supposed to do it. God damn it. Now I have to help you.
Yeah. Then they went along and they go to a goblin town and find basically like a slave human, a human who was enslaved to the goblins there, and they free him. Oh yeah, and then there's a demon possessed chicken that the necromancer witch lady owns. Who
the dust
like,
wife.
Yeah, the necromancer chicken is like, or not the necromancer chicken, that demon possessed chicken is like not really that important until he is.
Yeah, he's just chilling.
Yeah, he's just kind of chilling. He lays eggs for them, or she, because it's a hen.
Right.
But yeah. So they save like this big old bearded guy.
Yep. From
Goblin Town.
We can get into how later.
Yeah. And he like comes and helps them too. And then Mara, our main character, who I realized I never said the name of, realizes that she has a fairy godmother who's actually really bad at being a fairy godmother. So they also get her help too. And they come up with this devious plan to like overthrow the prince's fairy godmother and like undo the whole curse that keeps them protected and kill him. Yep. That's kind of general synopsis.
And she does that to kill him, but it's also because, well, partially because she wants to save her sister, also partially because her sister will be killed if she has a successful heir, and then if she's killed, then Mara will probably have to marry him, and she doesn't want that. So
yeah, it's all like this political marriage kind of thing.
Yeah, there's like layers.
Yeah.
That's basically the whole story. Yeah. The bare bones of it. I kind of want to hear your villain rant now.
Okay, so here's the deal, right? So you're a bad guy. Cool, good for you. So why would you keep this one family as like bride factory, right? Like, why wouldn't you just pick and choose from different other people? Because like even villains in like Disney stories know to go from go to different communities for your brides. Because if you're just gonna keep hacking off your brides, right? Like, just go to different places. Like, don't poop where you eat.
Okay. No, he can't do that though, because he wants to take over that port kingdom.
Yeah, it's because it's a harbor kingdom, and he lives in the North Kingdom. They don't have they're like landlocked.
Yeah.
So that's why.
There's not other ports.
I don't know. Maybe
there's just the one in the whole world.
But also, he can't just go around like fucking all the pretty girls, because then like the problem is, what if he does have success with multiple women? Then there's going to be a big fight for the throne afterwards, because he has multiple children. Yeah, so the whole point is he only wants like one heir, so it's like very clear who would be.
Okay, but if he's good with killing wives, then he's probably good with killing babies. Like, pick one, roll a die, roll a baby, and then just start hacking. I understand the port thing, that makes sense. But like, it had to be that one.
Yeah,
it couldn't be a trade agreement. Like, they had. Anyway,
I mean, the thing is, actually,
no. The other thing is, if they didn't control the port city, the South would control the port city, right? Because the port city is in between the North and the South. So they're like, if we control them, then the South also doesn't get them.
Yeah, then the South also doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess.
I also think, you bringing all of this up leads me to my first point, which is some background history on T. Kingfisher as an author. So T. Kingfisher is Ursula Vernon's pseudonym that she uses when she writes adult novels, because she's actually a very, very prolific fairy tale style children's author. And I wonder if you could tell, because she just wrote an adult fairy tale. And she obviously loves chickens and birds and teeth, I think. I've read a couple of her books now, and they always have teeth and birds in them.
That's weird.
Yeah. But yeah, I think because this is like supposed to just be a fairy tale, like, it's like you don't need to question why he's killing off all of the Harvard children.
So many questions.
Obviously, that's just how it is. But at the same time, I think the world is very alive and isn't just like telling like a cut and dry fairy tale. There's a lot of magic in this world that I wish was talked about more, and a lot that is touched upon that I don't understand why it was the ones that were picked.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was, I
Yeah,
guess
the
that's,
magic systems were very soft. It was very like soft magic system.
Yeah.
Not a lot was explained. It was just like this kind of works.
Yeah, exactly. It was very much, we'll just kind of finagle it, and then it just kind of works out.
yeah. And I guess it's, sometimes that's how fairy tales are, so I guess so.
I did have a question
Sure.
to confirm. Homegirl, main character girl, Mara. Sorry, I knew her
fine.
name. She was supposed to be like in her 30s. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, why did she have the personality of a 15-year-old?
She's autistic, okay?
Yeah, she's
Oh,
autistic.
okay.
She's on the spectrum.
She's definitely on the spectrum.
I did like the story. I'm not like complaining about these are just like little nitpicks that I was like, why is this happening?
Yeah, she hyperfixated on needlework so much that she just forgot about like growing in any other part of herself.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, no, like I don't know. I've read her as like kind of like on the spectrum because like a lot of the times she doesn't know what her sister's talking about at all, and she doesn't like relate to all the politics that's going on, even though it's like, oh, now it's obvious.
Yeah, she's at least in her late 20s though, which is old enough to understand.
No,
the world
it
around you.
specifically said she is 30.
Oh, she is 30? Okay.
She was 30 by the time I think she was that her sister was pregnant again.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, because Kenya is unfortunately just
Pregante.
Brigante. Yeah.
Constantly pregnant.
Pregu.
Pregu. Oh my god.
Again, that.
Yeah. So I guess, yeah, I think because it is very soft. So like Mara's first task is to like weave Nettle into like a cloak or whatever, and she does that. It like her
Is owl cloth though? They say owl cloth.
yeah, it's owl cloth.
What is that?
I think it's just like it looks like an owl's pelt or whatever,
Oh.
right? Like because it looks like all like if you look at an owl, they look like fuzzy in chunk parts of them. I figured it was just like fuzzy fabric with like that was like barely held together with like.
I don't know why I thought Googling it would help me.
Yeah, that's
yeah, when I listened to it, I was assuming it was like supposed to be like a paradox of an animal that doesn't hold onto its fur well.
Yeah.
But like you have to use the whole pelt because the pelt's like with the skin and stuff, and I assumed it was like I said, another part of the impossible task, trying to like finesse the whole ass.
I also
pelt.
just wonder if it was called that just for mystical purposes, like meh.
Yeah. Also,
Like-
how did she know how to turn the bones alive?
See, she didn't. It just kind of worked for her. And that's just one of the things where the magic system is really soft. But it is proven later on that Mara probably has magic herself. And I think that's how she did it. Because she can free things. And she freed the dog from death, apparently.
Yes, I definitely wish they went a little more into like how much magic does she have?
Yeah.
Why does she retain it? Why doesn't anyone else know about it?
Wasn't
you know?
it the first book in a series?
No, I think it's a standalone.
Oh. I
Yeah.
thought it was a series.
Yeah, there's also just like swamp cannibals out there when she's
they're
doing
just
this.
there.
Just there. She
the
never like
first-
meets any.
The first third of the book is so weird, and then it's like a very streamlined story.
Yes, you're right.
It
You
was
are
fever
absolutely right.
dreamy. Like, it was like all this stuff got thrown in there, and I was like, is all of this relevant? And then none of it was relevant.
I know.
Yeah, because the first half of the book, it feels like it was like almost like a different story. Like it was.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it more at that point.
I know, it was
But, like,
super dark.
It was like bouncing back between like the making of the bone dog and everything going on, and her past. It was like alternating.
Yeah, alternating back and forth. Yeah. 'Cause she
And
was
it kind of just
trying-
stopped doing that.
Yeah, it stopped doing that because you caught up to like present day. But
Mhm.
I also think so. I mean, we've already said it. So I think it's really dark in the beginning because Mara's state of mind is also very dark. Like she realizes this very bad thing is probably going to happen and wants to do everything she can. And she thinks that she's the only person like she has to do it alone. But as the story progresses, she gains friends and people that she can trust that will help her with her quest, and the story gradually gets less and less dark fantasy and just becomes normal fantasy.
Yeah.
And I think that's the point of the book, actually. I think that's the story she's trying
Didn't
to
like
tell.
that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like what happens then is you kind of front load the bigger, like emotional or like raw,
Yeah.
like conflict. And then afterwards, there's like not a lot of conflict that happens. It just goes pretty smoothly.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, it was a writing experiment of sorts, and I don't even think she was unsuccessful, because I think she did what she wanted to do. It's just not necessarily everyone's gonna like it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Mhm.
I did like Mara as a character,
Yeah.
because like she's like, ugh, but there's nothing remarkable about me. How the fuck am I supposed to do any of this? But she just kind of like tuckers her shoulders and is like, fine, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, I like the very relatable moment when she has to go talk to her family at the end of the book, and she's like, okay, fine. I'll go do it.
Yeah. Killing a prince was easy, but talking to my family.
Talking to my
Not the
mom, and I haven't
expectation.
talked to her in a long time. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
She can make you do princessy things. Oh my god, I can't stand it.
I have to
Not
wear a
the
dress.
dresses.
Yeah, like I don't understand. Okay, I don't know. It feels like at the beginning of the story they describe all of these things that I think are going to come back later,
Yeah, and they don't.
but they just
No, they
don't. Like all the time she spent like at the nunnery, like shoveling poop and stuff,
Yeah, it makes me think
and
that
her like
she's
raped of
going
people.
to write books that are in this world but are not directly connected to Mara.
Maybe I don't
Because
know.
why would she write all about, there's like swamp cannibals and like
Yeah.
Why is any of that relevant?
creepy puppet boy that it's not relevant either to the plot?
Oh, that puppet was so
Oh
weird.
yeah.
Yeah, that was something.
I was so mad about the puppet. I was like, why the fuck did Trips make me read this? And then like
Sorry.
the puppet was not relevant anymore. And I was like,
Sorry.
why did I care so much about the puppet? But why is the puppet not more relevant?
I know. Well, that made me angry too. So
Listen, the
Right,
lady was being
the-
choked with consent. Okay, so it was fine.
She was, and I don't like it.
Right.
Some people are into that. Okay, just don't.
Trips, you're not
question
supposed
it.
to jive.
The
I'm judging.
oh my god, the Dust Mother like showed Mara a very complex moral lesson, and you're just like, but why? It doesn't matter now.
Yeah. I read A House with Good Bones like last week, and I was like,
What is it doing bones?
A House with Good
Sorry.
Bones is like her book that came out, her horror novel that came out this year, and it has the same issues. I'm like, why are we doing this? Just tell the story, girl. I don't know. She likes having her little
Side
chapters of
tangent.
nothing.
She likes exposition.
I mean, it's almost like a soapbox of commentary, like social commentary, but a soapbox through through characters.
yeah, kind
Yeah.
of.
I feel like I compare it to The Last Unicorn in that
Mhm.
like you just have a lot of like episodic, like weird fantasy things happen that don't really add up to a larger plot always, but they seem to be like just steps along the way of an epic quest.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, yeah, you're right. In chat, the tooth dancer also
Oh
was an
god.
interesting thing.
I chose to forget about that. Thank you.
It's so
I
Oh
mean-
yeah, then they exactly they told this whole story about like the rich economy of like things related to nuns and
Yeah.
divinity, and then it just kind of went out there.
Super irrelevant. Yeah.
She's also like not really a nun. They're just playing it off like she is.
Yeah.
She's actually
she
just a
smells
princess
money.
hiding.
But she
in
can be
the-
at least a good fake nun.
That's true. I mean, she pulled it off for the tooth. I guess.
Ah, the tooth.
Get it?
The
Pulled it off.
tooth.
Stop
Yeah.
it. You're both monsters.
Faye hates the puns. She's having none of it.
It's just the teeth talk.
But that's how we got Fenris, and I mean, Fenris is also very interesting, and I kind of wanted to know more about him too. But he mostly is just like the muscles in the adventure party.
Yeah. And there was a lot of descriptions of him taking off his shirt to chop wood. All the ladies like walking at him, and I was like,
I know. It's like, okay.
Are we still doing
I'm
this?
too gay for this.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, it's a very like lopsided party. You have like one muscle man and that's it. Like everyone else is like some sort of magic user or an animal.
Yeah, they're like there's like 2 old ladies.
Like you have 3 animals, 2 old ladies, the princess, and one muscle man.
Yeah.
With sad backstory.
I think honestly his
backstory wasn't that sad.
No, it wasn't that sad. But I was like, oh, I guess if you thought that slavery was better than getting killed, though, I don't know, dude.
Oh man.
Like being enslaved to a fairy is better than death, maybe. I don't know.
Hey, wait. Hold on. Sorry, that was a fairy thing. I was making a joke.
Oh yeah. That's true. Sorry.
Are you looking for slaves? Would you want a big muscle man slave, Faye?
I mean, I don't like the word slave. It feels a little high. Indentured servant.
Okay, all right. The synonym is fine.
100%. As long as he's not looking to what synonym means.
Look, as long as he's good at doing dishes, I'm happy to feed him, right?
Right.
Wait, she literally lost a tooth to get Fenris.
Yep.
Does that make him an indenture servant?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yes,
and completely not through my own consent. Thank you.
Yeah, and on a high note, goodbye, everyone.
It's just a chip off your shoulder, eh?
Yeah,
that's the clip. Goodbye.
So I guess I don't know. I guess going through the characters, we say, do we generally like Mara? I liked Mara.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought Fenris was fine. He served his plot purpose.
She was my favorite flavor of vanilla.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish there was like just more challenges they had to face together. They really didn't. Like.
No, they didn't. He's just kind of there.
He's just like hot and there.
Yeah, but I guess since he's like, well, I'm your slave now. I'll do whatever I have.
No, I meant like overall in the quest too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Even when they got separated by the wheel thing or whatever in the catacombs, they kind of just find each other right away next chapter.
I know.
I know. Then what was the point?
Why'd you even bring it up?
I know.
Yeah,
promises.
Oh yeah, and what makes me laugh, the goddess's name in this world is like Lady Grackles. Just so
oh my god!
Thank you.
Can you imagine the church? Because okay, so like I was so I work at a place that sends off book fairs to schools, and you have 2 guesses. It doesn't matter, and one of them was like Our Lady of Eternal Help or something, and all I thought was Our Lady of Eternal Grackles.
Apparently it's a bird. Grackles are birds?
Yeah, I think it's a bird. She really likes birds. Kingfisher does.
I can tell.
Yeah.
Also called Kingfisher, which is also a bird.
Yeah.
And not only is it the demon-possessed chicken, they also get like a fate-possessed chick afterwards.
Yeah, so the Dust Wife...
Why is she collecting people? Sorry.
Why is she collecting people? Why not?
Oh, chick, you mean like the animal. Sorry.
The animal.
Yeah,
like a tiny little chick.
Yeah.
Yeah, so because like you said earlier, the Dust Wife, who is just named Dust Wife, right? I think she does have a name, but hardly
the Dust Wife is like the best character, though, right?
Yeah.
Like,
she's so funny.
She's so good.
Yeah, she's very sassy and funny. I do like that she thought that Mara wouldn't be able to complete the first 2 tasks, but then she does, and she's like, well, shit.
Oh yeah, that moment where she's like, you know why people give someone an impossible task? And then you're thinking she's gonna say something deep about it. She's like, because you're not supposed to complete it, damn it.
Yeah, now I have to go help you. And so she joins.
And she breaks the whole rule of 3s too. She's like, you completed 2 of them, that's good enough.
Yep. She's like, here you go. She already had like a jar of moonlight or whatever the heck it was.
Yeah, don't waste your time on this.
Yeah. Here you go. Yeah. But I guess she's the one that recognizes that we should go find your original fairy godmother because she could help us. So they go find Mara's
honestly, she does like everything. She like goes to the goblin market.
Yep.
She's the one who figures out like how to like find Fenris.
Yep. Well, she's
she really could just be the main character.
She is her fairy godmother.
No. Dustwife. Does
Yeah, no, I
everything.
know. Dustwife is like she has like the ability to make everything happen, like a fairy godmother would.
That's true. But apparently, the actual fairy godmother, her magic it's a pretty interesting magic system where it only works on kids or
Yeah.
like newborns. You can bless them or curse them.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool though.
Yeah, that's an interesting like limitation on the power.
Yeah, her name is Agnes, and she's like cute old lady.
But that limitation. Sorry, I'm still stuck on Toto's comment.
It's okay.
That limitation on the power would prevent like weird or unsavory people from becoming fairy godmothers. Like that makes being a fairy godmother like a specific niche.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
kind of cool. Sorry, we can move on.
Well, that's true. Or like people wouldn't try to make them all the time because it
Yeah.
feels like she was just born that way.
Also, Agnes's mother was supposedly some sort of like powerful demon, and they just never say anything about it.
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah, and she's
No
like
problem.
Mara's great aunt or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's actually Mara's great aunt, and her great grandfather, I guess fucked a demon. I mean, monster fuckers, woo.
Sorry.
I don't know. It isn't really. It's just funny. It's like, yeah, this is the thing. Moving on. This whole book.
Moving on.
Because I also think because it's told from Mara's point of view, it's moving on because she's like, that's too much for my brain to handle. I'm going to not think about that anymore.
Yeah.
So Agnes agrees to come and join them for the journey, and they go to like the city where Prince Vorling's castle is.
Yeah.
And I think
Agnes
Vorling's
also
such
has
a
a
dumb
limitation. Like her powers, like she's really good at cursing things, but she's really bad at blessing things, which is what like she's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So all she can do is like say, "Oh, they'll be healthy. They'll have good health."
Yep.
Which just means like Kenya has been like constantly healthy while being tortured.
Yeah, I mean, Mara says like she's never gotten sick. So
Yeah, all she had is a calloused thumb and like a toothache.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, if I had to pick
Yeah,
things,
honestly, nice.
not the worst.
Oh yeah, and there was a plague, and she just got like kind of sick. She didn't die. Yeah, you're right, Chaos.
Yeah. And then Agnes blesses a little chickie when they get into town, but it's actually a curse to like find them somewhere safe to hide in the kingdom that they're trying to take down Prince Vorling or whatever.
Yes, it is.
So they just name it Finder. They have a way with names. The dog made of bones is named Bone Dog.
Yeah, why not?
The demon-possessed chicken just never has a name.
I mean, the uninteresting main character might as well also not. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we're just
True.
rounding her out.
Like Finder, like come on.
She didn't name him Finder though. I think Agnes did, and Agnes is like
Yeah,
hiding. Like she hides the fact that she's not like blessing the chick. She's like, you better find us a way into the castle or you'll
Or
die.
else you die.
I was about to say, how'd you guys like that little twist? It wasn't
it
like
was
a
funny,
twist. It
actually.
was just like,
It didn't
oh,
feel
actually,
like a
that's
twist
kind
at
of
all.
yeah.
It was like I bet
just
she
liked
said something
it.
like that, you know.
This nice old lady's just like, I don't want to be good at curses, but damn, I'm good at curses.
It was funny. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like the the semantics behind the other fairy godmothers like curse better. That was more interesting.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe the Dust Mother is really good at blessing for the dead.
I don't know. I feel like there's like different schools of magic. Like hers is more like necromancy. She's
Yeah.
like a totally
Perhaps,
different school.
but typically Godmother is supposed to be good at blessings, and here is Agnes, who's good at curses. Perhaps the Dust Mother is good at blessing,
Yeah,
but
that's
we don't
true.
really
It's
get to
kind
see.
of like a reversal, huh? You have the like nice necromancer
Mm-hmm.
and the cursing godmother.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I like the
for sure.
title Cursing Godmother because I like the idea of a godmother just being like,
Yeah.
just getting censored everywhere.
Like when you wish upon a soul. Fuck you. Fuck you. Get out of here. You'll never be a real boy.
If you do not uphold a nice moral code, all your teeth will fall out.
Oh,
Yeah.
You will be. You will be
I'm gonna
done.
fuck you up.
Literally, I'm gonna come back with these hands. All right.
Like two glitter everywhere. These hands.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
literally.
no! I kind of agree with you though, Toto. Once they get to the city, things really slow down to the point, because it's a fairy tale, you can basically kind of predict how it's going to end, I feel like. And they go to, like, they stay at this, like, weird hostel thing.
Yeah.
And there's, like, this girl that has this creepy puppet around her neck, and but it doesn't mean anything. It's just there.
Holiday Inn.
I think like the only relevant thing about it is that she can't talk,
Yeah,
so she wouldn't be able to give away their like position
yeah,
if
that's
she
true.
was questioned. But she never gets questioned anyway, so it was like, okay.
Yeah, it's like,
And like they never get caught by any guards. Even when the guards question them, they just what's the
They
word?
give a mighty shrug and are let go.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was so weird.
They bamboozle them and they're just like, oh, you should go check inside the temple. Closes the door behind them and locks it.
Yep.
Did you guys like that Mara finally like broke down and like, I can't believe like we can't do this after she gets to the city?
Yeah.
She's like, oh my god, like we can't do this, and we're like, dude, you made it all the way here.
Yeah.
Too bad you're already here.
Yeah, too bad we're already here, but yeah, I think it's just because then it's real once you get to the city. Like, then we really have to do this. It's not just like something she wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
I did like her budding relationship with Fenris, though. I thought that was like built up pretty nicely.
I liked it because it wasn't like ever a main event. It's just like kind of there sometimes.
Yeah, and it wasn't
Oh,
like
yeah,
forced,
that was
you know.
Yeah.
It felt pretty natural that they were like pretty good chemistry with each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, no one can recognize Mara either. It's true because she's never there.
Yeah, she's just like so unmemorable that no one recognizes her.
And they
Yeah.
know
And
the
that's like
name,
a good thing for this stealth.
Mhm.
which
The dream.
honestly, reading a lot of like medieval or like fantasy stuff in other mediums actually kind of works out, because there were some stories where people were just like, yeah, I could say like the royalty was like, yeah, I can say my name, but people don't see me rarely, if ever,
Mhm.
so they don't know what I look like. I mean, you could be the royalty that gets like paraded around, but a lot of people never see the royalty. They just know the name.
Yeah. Yeah, because photography isn't a thing yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess after that. Gosh, you'll have to remind me just because it's been a hot minute since I've read it. She goes to and talks to the actual fairy godmother of like the Vorley
Yeah.
family.
It like goes off without a hitch. Like there's no questions about it. Like
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. And I guess it's just like, let me go talk to the other fairy godmother and maybe we can like work something out.
yeah. Isn't it because the actual fairy godmother doesn't actually care, or she kind of wants to die, so like she's okay?
I kind of took it as she was like, this is a terrible situation. This guy's a terrible person. I would like to stop this from happening.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
here's a way to do that.
Yeah, that's what
Mhm.
I thought too. Yeah, it is very
Yeah.
convenient for the plot, but I mean, if King Vorling, because the dad dies like halfway through the book, is really that evil, then whatever.
She was. I don't know if you remember the full context of it, but the godmother had been cursed by the first king
Yeah.
to be their servitude. What's it called? Like, just their court godmother. But in doing so, she takes the life away from all the children that die prematurely.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, their old is like 45, 50. And they just keel
yeah.
over.
Yeah, so she's like been living forever and it kind of wants to die. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, so she's been actually cursing them, not giving them the gift of life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And there's I think you said this in our Discord that like you were just waiting for Mara to realize that the tapestry is like a map. That she
It wasn't the type of map that I thought it would be though. Okay.
No.
Like, I hate this. Okay, let me talk about this for a second because the maid in the castle that like way back when had talked to Mara was talking about how there were catacombs underneath the city and had all of the kings there and stuff. And also that like the layout of the catacombs was based off of like the family lineage. So like I was like, oh cool, like it's like a whole maze like based on like who's like how many sons you have, it's like how many paths there would be. And then you get this like tapestry, which is like one thing that like Mara's good at because she's like spent all this time weaving, where there's like a bunch of threads connected in weird ways. And I'm like, oh. And then there's like, it doesn't look like a map. It doesn't look like a blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it's gotta be a family tree, right? Like that way, like you get the family tree that lets you into the catacombs to find the right place. But it's not even that. It's just like stupid instructions for like, oh, 6th path, 4th path. I'm like,
Yeah,
I was so mad about that. I was like,
yeah,
what? You had this whole setup to bring all these like things back together and you just didn't.
nope. Yeah, she doesn't. She just figures out how to travel.
Yeah, and it's like at the perfect timing too. It's like right when they need to get out of there faster.
Yeah. Yeah, it is very like, oh, perfect timing.
Yeah,
This whole
also there's
book.
just like, this huge like slime made of corpses in the catacombs that chases them for a little bit and then they get crushed by it, but then no, everyone's actually fine and they just find each other after.
Yeah.
It's like, what was the point of this?
Well, I do think she does almost die to the weird wheel thing.
Wheel thing, yeah.
But the Lady of the Grackle saves her. Or
Long
spares
live the
her?
Grackle.
It's a little ambiguous what happens.
Yeah. They were very ambiguous about the description of this wheel thing too.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
It was very
I
weird.
had to like reread that part a couple times. I was like, what is this thing?
I just
exactly?
imagined
did
like
too.
I just imagined a Dark Souls like
Yeah.
NPC.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at, thinking
kinda
about
how it
too.
seemed, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly,
But then,
I think
like,
this whole thing could just take place. in Dark
Dustwife
Souls.
just like chases her in a way and is like, it won't be messing with us anymore. Now that I give it a little like, taste of my real power, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, Dustwife just is like OP.
She is OP.
She's so OP.
It's like
How did she get so OP?
she should be the character that can't be unlocked until New Game Plus, but she's like there already.
Yeah.
She's like the boss you have to defeat to unlock her.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, she is pretty cool though. Yeah, so I guess like they're running out of time because they have to get to the christening of the baby, to kill the
prince or the king.
prince.
King Warling.
Prince King. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Good boy.
And they find like the corpse of the original king who made a deal with the fairy godmother, and
Yes.
they have to get him to like undo the bind to get the fairy godmother to like undo her magic.
Mm-hmm.
So like Dustwife brings him back and then tortures like the demon possessed chicken like tortures him just enough for him to like release his grip for a second.
Yeah.
Right? It imagined me. Sorry, I don't know why I said that in that way. It made me imagine the people in like a D&D campaign. You go for like the really big boss fight of like this 3 or 4 hour session, and then someone like crits, like gets like a nat 20, and then they just kill the guy. They're like, "Oh, get ready for this big fight with the original king." And she's like, "All right, I am gonna fight you." Cracks the mask. You're done.
Mm.
Yeah.
yeah.
Speaking of crit hits, like at the very end, like Fenris also kind of just crit hits Whirling.
He does.
He kind of just walks up to him and stabs him
It's like bye.
with a big sword.
It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, because Agnes like gets really big, right? She like turns into the actual evil, wicked godmother.
Yeah.
To I don't know, kill.
You're like, no, she comes in to like bless the new child.
Oh yes,
Right. So you guys want to talk about like the christening?
sure.
Yeah. Because I mean, we've I guess catacombs is just like they go in,
Yeah.
they get out, and then they pretty much are just like there to the christening already. Like they see the fairy godmother like die in this like beautiful scene of her like turning to bones
Mm-hmm.
and taking one last sip of tea. But yeah, then they kind of just zoot over to the christening.
Yeah, they zoom. I think they really do just zoom because they know that they are running out of time. And yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I lost my
I kind
thought.
of like that scene.
Yeah,
I
fairy
just like,
godmother Agnes turns super big and scary
Yeah.
and curses the child to grow up fatherless, which means Vorling has to die now.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone's like, gasp, like gasp. That's not the fairy godmother we expected, and that is not an actual blessing.
Yeah.
And then Fenris just kind of goes up to Vorling and stabs him through the chest, and he dies instantly.
And then he dies.
Yeah, and then Kanya,
Kanya, yeah.
yeah, Kanya kind of just is like right on. She's like very quick with her wits, so she like jumps on it. It's like, oh, don't kill Fenris. Like we need to question him and blah blah blah, and then like gives them all a way to escape safely, and they kind of just do. There's like not a lot of conflict. They just like kind of escape pretty smoothly
Mm-hmm.
after killing a king, you know?
Yeah, that's true. They sure do.
Yeah.
They sure do. And then they all just kind of, I mean, there's the funeral, and Mara talks to her family about what happened a little bit. But then I guess it's like a happy ending. They all lived happily ever after as the Dust Wife and Agnes go off to live together, and presumably Fenris and Mara do too, but it's not really sad.
yeah, so they kind of escaped because like they're like, oh, well, the threat's gone. Well, now you actually might be sold off because our mom, like, that's how our mom does things. It protects the kingdom, so you might as well just run away.
Yeah.
She's like, all right, bet.
Bye. Yeah.
And then
Oh yeah, because
the cheesiest.
Kanya
Sorry.
actually like protects her sister at the end, like, or like she like not protect her sister. She just like immediately becomes the queen, in power, and like orders people around, and so I think she protects Fenris from getting murdered.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they placed him in a coffin and said you're gonna be buried alive in a catacomb.
Yeah.
Which they have done to people previously, and then like half a day later they go save him.
Yeah.
And then
And no one recognized Agnes because she turned into like a super scary lady for a second when she did the blessing.
yeah, they're like, yeah, she was like a different person. Your mind plays tricks on you.
Yeah.
So she's just walking around town like no one's business.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all very coincidental.
It sure is. And that's the book, I guess. And we can talk about our favorite parts, our least favorite parts still. Was the supernatural horror element scary to you, or were like the real world problems that are more like, I guess, like rooted in feminine problems more scary to you?
Yeah, the latter.
Yeah.
Like constantly having to be pregnant, like that sounds awful.
Yeah, it's pretty.
And
Yeah, which is
an
bad.
abusive, controlling like husband.
Like death
And like
or
not
the
being able
nunnery
to
sounds
grieve,
fine.
like that your child just died, like that is awful.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would agree. I think the first like third of this book, and when they were describing all of that, I was like, this is the worst book ever. I hate this. Oh my god. And by worst, I just mean like that's my worst fear. So it's like, but yeah. I would agree with that. I guess for the other scary parts, I don't know, were they actually scary or just creepy to you?
They weren't really scary or creepy.
The
I don't
tooth
know.
dancer?
I mean, I thought they were like creepy, but it wasn't the kind of creepy that like stayed with me when I went to bed that night. It was the kind of creepy that as long as the book was open and I was thinking about it, I was just kind of like, ugh.
Yeah, it was more like a creepy in a fantasy kind of way, like how I feel about like Diablo, where it's like spooky, but like I understand what's going on and I am not afraid.
Okay.
Like cryptic world building.
Yes, cryptic is more like the right word. I like that.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, because I remember at some point when they're in like the goblin market, the goblin market or whatever it's called, they mentioned that there's like clockwork bees and they have rust honey, and I don't know, there's so many cool things.
That's cool, yeah.
In this world, that it's not important. I'm like, please no.
I'm gonna say
I
the
want to
market.
talk about this. Give me the clockwork bee.
Yeah, that's
The
true.
market
But
was
I also
probably the
like
most descriptive part of the story, I think.
I like that not everything was explained because it makes the world feel more real, you know? If they like stop to explain every little thing.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
I think it is supposed to feel like a very The world is very alive. Magic is there, and it's kind of weird. And
But
nobody really knows.
I feel like the author has just a lot of like ideas,
Yeah.
but doesn't really expand them too much, which is
Yeah.
both a blessing and a curse, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I almost wonder if it's because she has been asked by her publisher to produce so many X amount of books like every year, because she consistently like publishes like 2 to 3 books a year. So she writes them shorter, or if that's just the way she likes to tell stories. I don't know.
I don't know. I just feel like the pacing of this book started out like not a lot was happening at a time, and then everything was just like constantly going to the end.
Yeah. I kind of think the way the book was written was very intentional. I think she just added some extra stuff. Oh, that was my other thought. I thought maybe she added a bunch of extra stuff because the publisher didn't want it to be a novella. Because this book is almost the length to be a novella. It's just a little bit longer, so it's considered a novel instead.
That's true. That's
yeah.
true. Like it could have just been like the back and forth between her past and her doing the stuff with the Dust Wife.
Yeah.
And the Dust Wife is the one who like saves everything at the end. Like it could have just been that.
I even think like adding in Fenris and Agnes and like some of the other stuff is okay. I think like adding in like the extensive, like all the creepy stuff, I guess, like the tooth dancer and the child and the wheel, the catacombs. Yeah. Maybe she didn't have to do that, but I also don't.
But I feel like without those things, there would be less like, I guess it wasn't exactly action, but like action-y moments.
That's true. Because it is kind of like how a fairy tale is, though. Like how it's just like if you're reading like any fairy tale, it's not like they'll mention a bunch of random stuff that's happening on, but you're just focusing on the story that is being told. So I guess she really was just trying to frame it like it was just a typical fairy tale you would tell your kid at night. Don't tell your kid this one at night, though.
Yeah, I think the strength was like the character dynamics. So the characters were pretty strong. They had clear-cut personality traits, and they played off each other well. I think the story and the plot was just like not the deepest. It just was kind of there. It kind of got the job done.
Yeah, I think so. I think there is something I just read this. I read it though. I didn't listen to the audiobook. I didn't really know how the experience would be on audio. I find her writing to be quite easy to read, and it's I don't know, she knows how to write a story, I guess.
Oh, sorry. I said that's true.
Yeah, so I guess although I think there are some weaknesses and those are very apparent, like she adds a bunch of stuff I think that isn't necessary. I don't know. I think in both of the books I've read from her, I feel the same way. Like she's obviously a really talented author. She just really wants to keep talking, I think, and it almost feels like she's not allowed to, because if you check her like any of her publishing things, she pretty much only publishes books that are like under 300 pages. I feel like they're making her do it. now I think
otherwise we get into like the LOTR tome.
Yeah, right. Which wouldn't necessarily be horrible, but I wouldn't have picked it if it was 700 pages long.
That would be the rest of the year's worth of.
Yeah. So I don't know. And I feel like I'm nitpicking on this book. It sounds like I don't like it. I think this book is fine. Actually,
yeah, I really did enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say this is like one I'm like raving about, you know?
Yeah. And
I just think it was good.
It's definitely something I would give like a teenager who's tired of regular YA novels and wants a little bit more but still needs like YA sideways.
Yeah.
Like you could give this to her and she'd be fine.
Oh yeah.
Or them and they'd be fine.
I just feel like after having like experienced like other like dark fantasies, this one's not quite as dark. But it's like fine for YA, you know?
Yeah, it's not. I think she adds a lot of humor to make it less dark. Which I liked, because I would have been like probably too creeped out if it was like just really, really dark the whole way through. But
Yeah, she's quite funny.
yeah, I don't know. There weren't bugs in this one, so I'll give it gets points for that. There's lots of bugs in the other book I read.
Gosh.
To the point of it's disturbing. But yeah, I think that's what I have. I think my other question was what worked or didn't work for you, but I think we've been talking about that the whole time.
Yeah.
I guess because this was like I guess T. Kingfisher's take on an adult fairy tale, did you think of any other fairy tales while you were reading it, or like did it remind you of anything? I don't really know. Just a thought.
I mean, like, it had safe little bits from each and every like fairy tale I've ever written.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm sorry, not written. I haven't written shit. I've ever read. But so like I was like, oh, this is cool. Like this, and then I just kind of like moved on with my tangent.
Yeah.
And didn't really like think too much further. I can't pick out one thing in particular though.
For me, like the whole like kingdom politics reminded me of like Game of Thrones, but like way less dark, maybe like 10% of like Game of Thrones, you know? Oh, and then like the necromancy, like all the swamp stuff, that is like straight up like Diablo swamp witch.
Oh yeah.
Like necromancy stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said before, the whole like dark fantasy of like an epic journey, collecting like various colorful characters to go along with you is very much like The Last Unicorn to me.
Yeah, Last Unicorn.
It's a similar dark fantasy and kind of episodic with like meaning like strange things along the way that are like never really explained. And they kind of just do it in the end. They kind of MacGuffin their way through it.
Yeah.
Well, not that there's a MacGuffin, but they kind of like, you know, Deus Ex Machina their way through to the end.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of.
Chicken Ex Machina.
Yeah, Chicken Ex Machina.
It's true, Chicken Ex Machina. What do you think, Realm? If you don't have any other thoughts, that's okay. Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, well, I will say the audiobook is fun.
Mm.
Oh yeah, the audiobook was fun. They do the voices.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good. That is
very
good.
very well, actually. I will say, very into it.
I don't know. I just found this book to be like a trail mix, you know, where there's like it's a mixed bag of stuff. Mm-hmm. Some parts are really good. Some parts are like still good enough to eat, but they're not your favorite. But you still like jump through them, you know.
Yeah.
There wasn't like anything particularly bad about this trail mix. It's just like I wish it was more consistent with the way it told its story. I wish it was more consistent with like part of it was that organization that I've been harping on, but also like just kind of the general like what's the word? Suspense? Like I wasn't feeling much suspense towards the end. I was like, oh, they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. The thing is, like, I totally get that it's not like what a reader, like an adult reader, would want. So I do agree. I think this book actually leans more YA than actually adult.
Yeah.
I feel like it was on purpose, though. I feel like it's like you're not like, because it's a fairy tale and you're an adult reading this book, you know how fairy tales end, and like it's very predictable in that sense. It's weird though, because it's like it's hard for me to knock it too much because I think that was her intention. It feels like it was anyway.
That's true.
Yeah.
But like you can be successful at something and I don't have to like it.
No, I mean I'm speaking objectively.
That's true. That's why we got the star and slide rating.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard for me to knock it too hard because the book is written well, and she succeeded in what she's doing. But yeah, it did fall short, in the same reasons why you're saying for me too. Yeah.
I'm like, listen, you can make like the most beautiful eggplant parmesan, but I still don't like eggplants.
Just eat all the other parts. Eat the cheese and the bread.
Yeah. Like I like a well-rounded story, but this the story was very much like a downhill kind of thing where like the suspense levels were very high and creep factor were very high at the start. It kind of just like smoothed out.
Yeah, it was kind of like climbing up to the big scary slide and then just zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Very much so. And the slide ended with a sword.
And
Yeah.
That ended with the sword, which is kind of scary. I don't want that in my real life. Yeah, I have listened to another book club discuss this book. It was a while ago, before I even realized that we were going to do it. And they have like an entire like hour dedicated to reworking the book, like making it more about the swamp cannibals. It's like, all right, but they don't like, I don't know, they don't touch on it very much. It's interesting. I don't know. I think
like I feel like there was like really only like one obstacle in their way, and that was pretty much Vorling. You know, he was like the only enemy, really.
yeah, and he was kind of like, he wasn't really really a big bad or anything. He was just a big bad in Mara's mind.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe the book would have been better if there was a more charismatic and interesting villain.
Yeah, perhaps.
That was like, you know, actually providing some sort of conflict for our heroes to actually deal with, you know?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, it does
maybe
bring up a
that's
fair point. Like, if you did want to,
okay.
if you did want to focus on something else, like, what would you pick?
Oh.
No, like what I'm saying is like, you know how like a lot of great stories about like great heroes, they also have like a great adversary, and then they are able to show their strength when they face each other, you know?
Yeah.
Because this book lacked like a strong villain presence, our heroes never really got to shine.
Yeah.
They kind of just like use their talents for like what's the word? Like utility purposes.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree there.
So I guess if we rework this, if I were to rework this book, maybe adding like maybe, I don't know, Warling has some suspicions and he hires some other type of like demon or something to hunt after them. So they're not only trying to rush to the kingdom, but they're also being chased down.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to use like their different talents in cunning ways to outsmart and outfox this demon. That's just like one example.
That is true, because yeah, like I think that might be good, because like even when we find out what's really happening with the royal family, it's like, well, Morling didn't do that. His like great grandpa did that.
Yeah. Or it could be like Mara's mom like sends out like some sort of bounty hunter to try and like track her down and figure out where she is because she's worried about her and trying to like escape his sights or something.
Yeah.
Or there could be some like spies from the south.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things that could happen, but it kind of just went pretty smoothly.
Yeah, there were a lot of things. I think
it would be like Avatar: The Last Airbender without Zuko, you know? So collect all your people. Maybe there's some things in the way, but you kind of just like go and fight the Fire Lord.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I mean, Zuko is a lot of the, I don't know, the spice in that show.
Yeah, or like Lord of the Rings, probably like Nazgul coming.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, I agree. I was going to say something and it flew away from my brain. It'll come back at some point. But yeah, I don't know. I guess since this was a shorter book, I guess we wouldn't have as much discussion on it. But yeah, I guess that is the whole. Those were all the questions I had. I don't know if you have any questions before we go into ratings or any other discussion points you'd like to talk about. What was I gonna say?
There really was not crazy amount. I wish the most descriptive area wasn't like the market for me. It was between the market and the Northern Kingdom, but by virtue of the end game was in the kingdom, and they did the bare minimum. Like they did the catacombs. The catacombs was its own area. The castle was just like essentially if I had to make it into like a show's length, it was like 10-12 minutes worth of stuff
Mm-hmm.
before they were somewhere else. And then the entrance to it was just like blips of guards. Guards are guarding, but they're still going everywhere, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like you said before, with the whole descriptor about like the elements of the world, like I got more out of the market than anywhere else.
Yeah, that's true. It was a little bit like inconsistent with which parts are like super well described and have a good like description. Like the wheel like did not have a good description. They like barely described it.
Yeah, I know. I guess it almost feels like like they wanted you to leave it to your imagination, but instead I was just confused.
Yeah.
uh,
Calling it a wheel also did not help. And then saying it was like a slime blob kind of thing.
yeah. A wheel covered in jelly is kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carnivorous cube, but cylinder.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if this gives you any solace, because this is like an all right book, right? This won the Hugo Award this year, and I think like maybe Nona the Ninth could have won instead, but honestly, all the other books I read were just like not very good. So I'm glad this one won as opposed to the other one. So at least you're reading the cream of the crop for 2022, which is not actually saying a lot. I feel like 2022 wasn't a very good publishing year, sadly. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
What were the finalists for 2022?
The finalists for 2022 were Nettle Bone by T. Kingfisher, Nona the Ninth by Tamsin Weir, The Spare Man by Mary Robnett Quall, The Daughter of Dr. Moreau by Sylvia Moreno Garcia, and one more that I can't remember right now. Hold on. I got it right here. And The Kaiju Preservation Society by John Scalzi, which that book is fun, but doesn't deserve awards. It's not that good. It's not that good. Oh, and Legends and Lattes, sorry, which I knew just wasn't going to win because it's just not up to like the prose level I think that they were looking for.
Yeah. That one was a very fun read, and I enjoyed it a lot. But
yeah,
you're right, the prose wasn't quite there, and I don't think the prose in this book was quite there either. Honestly,
I mean, I think in reading
it was good, but not that good.
In reading it with all like the italics and the way that it's formatted, I think it's doing a lot.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't see that because I read the audio.
Yeah, because you listened to the audio, which is fine.
Visually, it was very cute.
Yeah, visually it's nice. And I think the way that, yeah, you're just gonna get a different experience, I guess, listening to it and reading it. I don't know. I thought it was pretty well written. She likes to do little creative things, or I guess things that you don't see in every book with her stuff. The Spare Man is terrible, though. Please don't read that book. And and The Daughter of Dr. Moreau is important, but the characters are very boring. So, yeah. Yeah, out of all those options, I guess, yeah, Nettle Bone. She's also an extremely established author, so it's a very safe choice. But, yeah. Yeah, I guess. I haven't heard of A Monster Calls. Is it a book or a movie? I think it's a movie. Fascinating. Is
it also a book? They said red.
Is it red? Oh, is it also a book? Oh.
Yeah.
Fantasy.
A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness.
Oh, by Patrick Ness. It is a book. I haven't read it.
Yeah, me neither.
Maybe it's a middle grade contemporary horror, so it kind of sounds similar. Honestly. It's a book, but they made a movie about it. I see.
Oh, I wanted to ask you. All right, so I know you're not really too much for the horror genre. And you said this had some horror elements, but you also read T. Kingfisher's other horror kind of book. What's the level of horror that like that we're going here? Like, how would you rate this amount of
Nettle
horror?
and Bone is like if on a scale of like 1 to 10, it's like a 3 for horror. Like it's not actually that scary.
Yeah, this was not
Yeah.
scary.
Like it's creepy, but it's not. Nothing is like, oh god, that's the worst thing I've ever seen or anything. I mean, kind of the pregnancy parts, but that's just a me thing. um,
Pregnancy is scary. You have like a tiny human growing inside of you. Like,
yeah,
what?
it's scary. It's ooh. And I think A House with Good Bones was much more horror-y. It was a lot creepier. The way that it was written is more like, you know something's wrong, but you don't know what's wrong, and it's creepy. So that one was more like, it wasn't that scary though. I'd give it like a 6 or a 7 maybe. I could sleep at night still, so it's probably like a 6.
Got it.
Yeah. There are teeth though, teeth and vultures in that book.
So I would definitely like to continue exploring the idea of like certain horror elements. I just don't know how far you're willing to go because
Oh,
I don't really get scared. I'm not suggesting anything, but I don't get scared. So
you don't get scared ever?
I don't get scared by books. I get scared
Yeah.
by
I don't get
like,
scared by horror. I don't get
visuals.
scared by
I'm
horror
usually
elements. Yeah, like I don't know. I have a random fear of like roller coasters, but that's like my childhood.
Alright.
Write
I'm
a
gonna
book
go-
about the scariest roller coaster.
That's what I was gonna say.
Well, the ones near me are mostly made of wood,
Oh,
so
God.
they have a high chance
Yeah.
of failure.
Terrifying.
So I'd rather not.
What did you say?
That's like
Faye?
subconscious stuff.
Yes, most of mine's just visual.
Oh yeah, it's visual horror. Yeah, I can do better with a horror novels for that reason as well, because I can also turn off my imagination if I absolutely have to.
Imagination delete us.
Yeah, I mean maybe I'll try to find a super scary. I mean I wish I had found that for like Halloween, but it's okay. We were reading.
No. Like
Credibility.
something like the, I don't like just if I want to read something and it has to be horror. I don't like straight up horror. Like you said, the fear of the unknown or that sort of like interesting build up. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean if you did read a House with Good Bones, I'd be very interested in knowing what you thought of it, because there's also just like things that happen and you're like, but why? Like in this book. I'd like to know. A monster isn't focused on horror, but psychological horror, like how a child deals with dying parent. Oh, interesting.
Look at
Thank
that
you.
one up then.
Thank you for the suggestion. I think. Thank you.
No. Thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay, should we finish up with star and slug ratings?
Yes, I was about to say that.
Well, I stole it from you.
You did.
No, we just know each other that well. We finish each other's.
Tacos.
Eggplant.
Yes.
Because you don't want it. I can borrow the audiobook right now.
Oh, nice. Who would like to go first? I can go first if no one wants to.
Awesome.
Okay, I'll go first then. So, I mean, I suggested this book. I picked it because I was like, I just picked it because I thought it's different. Like, we haven't read this genre, like, at least, like, a horror-ish type style book. It's labeled in the horror section anyway in my library. I thought it would be interesting, and I wanted to know your opinion on it. So I'm glad we read it in that sense. My objective rating, I think it's like an 8 because I do think that it's written well. I think it's telling a nice, succinct story, except it's not succinct enough for my tastes, I guess, because there were lots of parts that I didn't love. But I think because Kingfisher is such a well-loved author, and I thought there wasn't really anything glaringly bad about the book, I would easily recommend it to people that wanted something like this. Or, like Faye was saying earlier, like a teen that wants something spookier than, like, Goosebumps. I guess. Although, I don't know, maybe Goosebumps is more scary than this at times. I think subjectively, it was like a 6 for me. 6.5, I would say. I liked it, but did I love it? No. I think I wanted more character growth for all the other characters. Like, I wanted the Dustwife to actually, like, be more than just like a, well, I can just fix everything character. And I wanted Agnes to have more stuff to do, and I want Fenris for the same thing. More things to do. I'm glad Mara was the main character ultimately, though, because I think she was quite lovable. So yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, speaking of the Dustwife and Agnes, I feel like a lot of like Agnes's like character growth happened off page, and we didn't get to see it.
Yeah, it was just, I thought it was disappointing. Yeah,
yeah,
I agree.
But yeah, I think since I'm talking, I'll go next. I think overall, yeah, I'll give it like an 8. I think objectively for my slug rating, objectively it was pretty good. There was like nothing really wrong with it. Other than like some of the like pacing plot issues and like suspense issues I had mentioned before. As for enjoyment, I think I'll give it like maybe like a 6 out of 10 subjectively star rating. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It just wasn't like my favorite or anything. Yeah, it wasn't like I didn't want to like put it down like at all. But it just didn't. I don't think this is a story that will like stick with me for too long. You know, it was just kind of like I enjoyed it.
That's fair. Which of the two?
Yes. No, I was just finishing my own internal monologue. Objective, I would say, I'll give it like 7.5. It was from what you say, I'm gonna trust you that it was a solid read. Like, you know, visually just reading the book itself. The audiobook was fun. I had no issue listening to it while doing other things, and that like if it keeps me interested enough where I'm listening to what I'm listening in my headphone versus the other stuff I'm doing, which is like God knows how many other things, and it's at least interesting. And I say it was pretty solid. It's not the normal. It's not what I usually read as well. So points for new or points for variety. Subjective, I'd say like 6.5. Listening to the other books that you mentioned that were for like the Hugo Award plus just its length, it's pretty straightforward story, just cool character elements. Like if it didn't have those certain places like the market or the catacombs or I don't know, pretty much all the dialogue with like the answers from the Dust Mother, then I think it would have been like a 5 tops. So it showed just different unfortunate elements of a medieval-esque fantasy world, and sure, it's not the first time I've ever seen it, but it doesn't get talked about much, so sure. Kind of cool.
Subjective. I don't know, like a solid 6.5. Like I'm not mad at it. It was a decent book. I would suggest it to other readers who enjoy both like YA and like higher up books. So I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with it. And I was just able to turn off my brain. So I think I'm gonna do 6.5 for both. Because like I could just turn off my brain, enjoy the book, call it a day. I do wish the creepier stuff from the beginning of the book kind of like had relevance to the end of the book. Just for like good flow. But it was what it was, and I honestly kind of hope she writes in this universe more, because I'd like to come back to some of the stuff, even if I found it uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I kind of hope she does write another
like
book
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, but like TJ Fisher.
Yeah.
I almost feel like this book could have benefited from also telling the story from different characters' perspectives.
Oh, yeah.
You know, or like having different chapters where like we have all our characters like from their perspective, and then they meet and then they do stuff together. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Made it longer.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I agree. Gosh, well, we have time to think about what we're going to read next because I sadly have to announce that we are not going to be meeting for the book club, for the book part of the book club in December because it's going to fall so close to
Yeah.
the holidays and I'm not going to be available. I'm sorry. And you may not be either. So